In the mid-1800s, a group of archaeologists from England embarked on an expedition to Mongolia. The expedition was headed by Jonathan Davis, his long-term research partner Jason Porter, and their assistant Marvin Thomas. With them, they brought a ship, all the necessary equipment, and a team of 10 workers to aid with the dig and the transportation of any relics back to the British Isles. There, they found a number of historically significant artifacts, one of which was described in Davis's journal as
a most marvelous discovery, the likes of which the world has never known. It will surely be regarded as the crown jewel of our findings, and I delight at the thought of what ancient secrets it may allow us to uncover.
Unfortunately for him, he would never get to find out. When the ship arrived back on the shores of England, those waiting for its return discovered that every single man on board was dead. Their mangled bodies littered the deck of the ship, and Jonathan Davis's head had been torn clean off. Whatever had killed them, it was far stronger than all 13 men combined. Given the unusual circumstances of these deaths, the artifacts were seized by the Oddities Occult and Paranormal Society, or OOPS, one of the many groups started by stuffy English gentlemen of that era that mainly functioned as a glorified cabinet of curiosities and placed in their inner sanctum. The largest and most impressive of these was a large black stone cube covered with strange symbols, which they displayed prominently for several years, until one day, the same dark force that killed those archaeologists on their own ship stirred once more. Something escaped from within the stone, killing everyone present in the inner sanctum and leaving a trail of more bodies in its wake until eventually it was apprehended by the SCP Foundation, placed in containment, and designated SCP-076. SCP-076 consists of two separate components, a stone cube, SCP-076-1, and the humanoid contained inside of the cube, or SCP-076-2. SCP-076-1 is a 3-meter cube of black metamorphic stone, covered in patterned engravings that have not been matched to any known civilization. Analysis via radioisotope suggests that the cube is at least 10,000 years old, though an exact date of origin could not be determined. There is a door on one side, sealed with a lock surrounded by 20 smaller locks, all arranged in a circular pattern. The Foundation has not been able to locate any of the keys, and therefore is unable to lock the door. This is unfortunate, given the nature of the figure that lurks inside the cube, chained inside of a stone coffin. This is the resting place of SCP-076-2, also known as Abel. Abel is a humanoid male who appears to be in his late 20s, with black hair, gray eyes, and olive skin. In spite of his youthful appearance, his age is estimated to be around the same as the cube that holds him. His body is covered in tattoos, depicting various occult icons and images of demonic faces, not uncommon for warrior castes of old. When he is encased in his coffin, within his stone prison, Abel is technically dead and registers no vital signs of any kind. However, he does not stay dead. On an occasional basis, with no apparent cause, he will wake up and reanimate. Once he is awake and aware, he will attempt to leave the cube by any means necessary. If he manages to escape, he will look for the nearest human being and attempt to kill them. Once he has latched onto a target, he will enter a rage state that will not stop until he is killed. Though, as his anomalous nature implies, this death is never permanent, and he will always awaken again eventually. Terminating Abel in order to stop one of his rampages is often difficult, as he possesses strength and durability far beyond the capabilities of an ordinary man. He has superhuman power and speed, and though his physical body can be damaged, he does not appear to respond to pain and continues to fight through extreme injuries that would take most targets down. During his time in Foundation custody, he has displayed the following abilities. Over the course of 4 minutes, while trying to attack a research assistant that happened to cross into his line of sight moments before, he ripped through a reinforced steel security door with his bare hands, breaking the steel apart as if it were layers of tinfoil. During another incident, he was able to run a distance of 64 meters in under 3 seconds to catch up to an armored van filled with Foundation guards. While security staff attempted to neutralize him during the same incident, he took several .50 caliber rounds to the head and continued to move and kill for several minutes after, in spite of having literal holes in his head and missing portions of vital brain matter. During another escape, he got a hold of a piece of steel rebar which he used to swat bullets from handguns and assault rifles out of the air, like he was batting a ball with a tennis racket. During another attempted escape after killing half a dozen D-classes along the way, Foundation staff were eventually able to trap the entity in a vat of water, sealing the top where he tread water furiously for an hour before eventually suffocating. This suggests that, unlike most people who will asphyxiate after only a few minutes without oxygen, he can survive for at least an hour. The most notable of his anomalous skills, however, is his ability to produce weapons, usually bladed, from thin air whenever he wants to. Slowed-down security footage has shown that he does this by pulling the weapons out of a tiny rift in space, a portal to another dimension of some kind. It is unsure where this portal leads to, or how Abel accesses it, but it appears to function as his own personal armory, stocked with an endless supply of black, non-reflected bladed weapons, which vanish as soon as they leave his grasp. Though it is difficult and often dangerous to do so, Abel can, in fact, be killed. Some previously affected methods of termination have included fire from multiple heavy-caliber machine guns, suffocation, being crushed between a 13.6 metric ton piece of elevator equipment, cremation via grenade placed inside of a cavity in his chest, and the detonation of an on-site nuclear warhead. Every time SCP-076-2 is killed, his corpse quickly decays at an unnaturally rapid rate until he has turned into a pile of dust. Then the door to the cube as well as the coffin inside will slam shut, and the lock on the outside will rotate shut. Somehow Abel's body will then reform inside the coffin. This process can take anywhere from 6 hours to over 20 years. After a series of failed experiments, containment procedures for SCP-076 were amended to the current procedures in place. SCP-076 is placed in Containment Area 25B, located 200 meters below sea level, tunneled into solid bedrock in an area with limited seismic activity. The only way to access this area is via an elevator shaft which is broken up every 50 meters with a reinforced blast door made of shielding that is 20 centimeters thick. When the elevator shaft is not being used, it is flooded with seawater. The containment area includes an outer security perimeter outfitted with security personnel trained in counter-intrusion and close-quarters combat, an administrative and support area where on-site personnel can live and rest, a primary containment zone filled with seawater and made of a 7-meter cube encased in reinforced material, and then a killing corridor that is 150 meters in size, with an electrical system able to deliver a 20,000-volt shock in the event of an attempted containment breach. The security station at the entrance of the killing corridor must be staffed with at least 3 armed security guards at all times. In the event of a containment breach, all staff on site must go to the closest security station immediately for weapons and armor. The staff will remain at Alert Condition 1 until Abel has been neutralized and recontained. If 90 minutes pass after a full breach without the order to stand down being given, the entire facility will be flooded with seawater and the access shaft will be sealed for 24 hours. This is considered an extreme measure, as it will kill any site staff present, but desperate times call for desperate measures. After the containment procedures were amended and file updated, Dr.
Redacted
submitted a complaint to Director Maria Jones, Head of Record Keeping and Information Security Administration. The correspondence reads as follows. I have to go on record as saying that I seriously object to the proposed revisions of the SCP-076 Special Containment Procedures file. I know that Redact All Important Stuff already claims it as a security risk, but you and I both know it's just top brass trying to sweep their biggest and most embarrassing mistake ever under the rug. Omega-7 happened. It existed. Those people died because you screwed up, and you can't change that, no matter how hard you tried to hide it. For God's sake, man, those people guarding him deserve to know exactly what he is and what he did. What we did. How we screwed up, so they'll know better. So what was Omega-7? What could have possibly constituted one of the Foundation's worst, greatest, most humiliating mistakes ever? Following the death of an agent, whose identity has been redacted, who had managed to best Abel several times in combat, the Foundation became aware of an intriguing possibility. Whenever Abel encountered the rare individual he perceived as superior or at least equal to him in combat, his uncontrollable rage would subside, and he would develop a kind of respect. When Abel learned of the man's death, he calmed down and was coherent enough to interview. He was distressed at the death, which had occurred as collateral damage in an airstrike intended to contain another SCP. He explained his feelings on the subject.
A man like that deserves to die in combat, so close to his opponent he can feel his breath. Not in some destruction ordered by cowardly kings and princes safe in their palaces. The rest of you disgust me. I don't even have the urge to strike you down.
After this interview, the researcher who conducted it recommended that the Foundation attempt to find a way to work with Abel and somehow militarize him in accordance with the Boe Commission's desire to use SCP objects for tactical purposes. A mobile task force was proposed, referred to as Omega-7, or by its nickname, Pandora's Box. Task Force Omega-7 was to consist of between 10 and 20 field agents, split up into teams of 3 and 5 people each. Members of these teams have selected a roster of highly qualified field agents, and chosen by Abel himself. Their purpose would be to provide support to him during high-risk fieldwork and combat-based situations. Abel was outfitted with a device attached to his neck that, if it was triggered or interfered with in any way, would detonate and destroy his spinal cord, trachea, and the major blood vessels of his neck, killing him instantly. A tracking device was also attached to Abel, in order to keep the Foundation informed of his whereabouts at all times. Abel was instructed to refrain from any unnecessary killing or violence, and only attack when ordered to. This operation was off to a bit of a rocky start, and the head researcher in charge of it added this addendum to the initial project proposal.
For God's sake, find these guys something to do. Abel's getting bored and he's starting putting his team through live fire exercises. They get bullets, he gets training weapons. Have you ever seen someone break a man's jaw using a Nerf sword? He's not gonna stop until someone gets killed!
Indeed, Abel was getting restless, and the Foundation needed to find a way to keep him busy, until he could be occupied with bloodier pursuits. This project report was submitted regarding Abel's activities. In light of SCP-076-2's proficient use of the Sumerian language, researchers have asked it to translate several documents. While it originally replied with disinterest, it has translated some of the documents it found worthy of its attention. Most of the documents chosen by SCP-076-2 were regarding battles or legendary heroes, one of its favorites in particular being the Epic of Gilgamesh. However, one researcher presented it with the symbol from SCP-073. Upon sight of this, SCP-076-2 became highly enraged, killing several of the researchers before its kill switch could be activated. When revived and questioned about this, SCP-076-2 responded aggressively, and that line of questioning was immediately dropped. It is recommended anything pertaining to SCP-073 never be brought to the attention of SCP-076-2, and that the two are never to be in the same facility. Eventually, the chance to see Omega-7 in action came about, and Abel and his task force were deployed at the request of the Boe Commission. Though details have been redacted from the official file, the mission was deemed a success, and General Boe thanked the research team in an email with the subject line, "A job well done." He wrote,
Excellent work, Doctor. The mission went exactly as expected. We'll be calling you again if we need your help.
This new chapter of the project bred discord between the two lead researchers assigned to Abel, from here on referred to as Dr. W and Dr. P. Dr. P was highly in favor of Omega-7 and its military applications, while Dr. W strongly disapproved, believing the project to be an example of the military forcing the SCP Foundation to do its dirty work. He responded to the General's congratulations with a strongly worded email to his colleague, too strongly worded to repeat here. To summarize it neatly, he was very upset. Following this email and at Dr. P's request, Dr. W was reassigned to SCP-682, leaving him as the sole researcher in charge of the Omega-7 project. After a series of incidents regarding friendly fire and casualties within the task force itself, most of which occurred during ordinary combat training, Dr. P sent an email to the General. Despite our best efforts, Subject Abel is proving difficult to control. All our attempts to keep him engaged have been more or less unsuccessful. The problem is he's a perfect killing machine, and that's all he wants to do, which seems like exactly what we wanted, but the problem is we can't seem to turn him off. I'm running out of missions to give him, and the ones I've got left aren't engaging him mentally. He started to lash out at the other team members. It's only a matter of time before something goes wrong. Requesting permission to discontinue the project and neutralize Abel temporarily until we can find something more for him to do. The General refused to agree to this. Unacceptable. Neutralizing Subject Able at this point is going to cause us an unacceptable delay. We'll have another mission for you within a couple of weeks. All you have to do is keep him busy until then. Send him on vacation or something. Dr. P was stunned by this response and unsure how to proceed. Not only was there nowhere safe to send Able on vacation short of firing him into the furthest recesses of outer space where he could not hurt anyone, he was simply not a man interested in leisure, rest, or vacation as a concept. They had let the tiger out of its cage, and now all it wanted to do was shred, bite, and kill. He tried to keep Able occupied, burning through D-Class on a daily basis that he could use as human practice dummies, but eventually Able's craving for a challenge became too strong. An automated alert went out to the staff on the site where Able was contained, signaling the start of a state of emergency.
SCP-076-2 has disabled the explosive collar failsafe and gone out of control. All staff to high alert. Further requests as events warrant.
There is no surviving security footage from this incident, and there are no witnesses to recount what happened next. Here is what we know for sure. Sometime after Able escaped from his explosive collar, Containment Area 25 began a 10-minute countdown for its on-site nuclear warhead. No staff were able to successfully evacuate before the warhead detonated, reducing the site to rubble. Site 67 and 68 activated FEMA protocol and secured the location. Meanwhile, the stone coffin sealed itself again, the lock clicked shut, and Able began to rebuild from almost nothing. Ashes to ashes, as they say, and dust to dust. Following this, a revised psychological profile of the entity was submitted. SCP-076-2 either possesses a mind constructed much differently than our own, or is completely insane, with little empathy or ideas in the way that we would understand it. Concepts such as sex, love, and equality are completely foreign ideas to SCP-076-2, or at least in comparison to its way of viewing them. Subject has shown that it is completely disinterested in sex, barely differentiating between genders except as a form of visual identification. Also, while subject seems to greatly enjoy the act of killing, causing pain, either emotionally or physically, holds no attraction to it. Intelligence tests have been wildly inconclusive when applied to SCP-076-2, and no accurate result has yet been obtained. This is due to the fact that no communication is possible with the subject when in its rage state. Subject displays knowledge of several languages, including English, but most notable is its knowledge of several dialects of Ancient Sumerian, which seems to be its preferred language. SCP-076 has nothing but contempt for human beings and will kill them on sight. No communication is to be attempted with the subject. Now go check out SCP-001 Dark Truth About the O5 Council and Top 15 Most Dangerous SCP Monsters in Containment for more deadly secrets from inside the Foundation.